As a child, I've always realized and observed people in life tend to live for others and not themselves. I've always observed parents, most of all, living more so for their kids and not themselves, setting their own goals aside to put all their attention on the kid. You know, seeing parents risk their own value for the sake of their kid. And other morals like the American dream that people die so hard for. Just overworking yourself for value outside of you that you can gain from you within you. And I've always seen how, like I just said, people would just not tend to their own self, basically. And as a child, observing that, it hit me one day that I wasn't living for myself. Just as far as when somebody asked me to do something, a family member, and it's something that I really don't want to do, and I still agree to it anyway. It could be simple things like that. Not knowing your worth. You know your worth, but you don't necessarily respect your worth. Dealing with this as a child. So only then I started to realize, okay, I gotta start respecting myself first because I didn't like the way it felt when I would agree to doing something for somebody else and I knew it wasn't benefiting me. And every time I look in the mirror, I felt regret. And I didn't want to keep embodying that shit. I'm young and I knew that wasn't healthy. So I had to start asking myself, like, how can I give people the respect? Or not even necessarily that, but how can I respect myself enough to when people come to me about things, I can say no. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to be surrounded by that. I don't want to put myself in this environment. I had to start setting, and this is another thing. You have to start setting goals for yourself. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing I had to really start recognizing. Okay, start setting goals for myself so I can have, so my emotional and self awareness could develop. You see, and that's something that you have to create for yourself. You're not born with no predefined mission, or you're not born with no predefined mission, but you must create your own purpose. But at the same time, from another perspective, I see that we're here to like just understand why we made the choices that we made. I feel like that's why deja vu exists. So it's not even more so about creating, more so about channeling, but remembering and entering over and understanding, at least to my experience. But living for yourself, this is a good example right now with this moment. I'm here to truly express myself and my experience and just my perspective in general. I'm not seeking nobody's validation to what I say, nor do I care to make an impact on anyone, basically, to the point where I'll be getting people coming up to me or getting messages worshiping or over honoring me as if I saved them. The whole purpose of this is just to redirect you back to yourself. I know that there's an audience, but right now the only audience is myself. So as you're listening, redirect yourself back to self. Reflect, But another thing is that, man, this one especially for the youth, you really gotta start. If you hanging around a group of people that truly you can't build with these people and your environment, you can't really grow or build within your environment, you need to separate yourself. You need to learn how to let go of old energy and cut off old cords. Somebody just texted me the other day. Yo, what's up? We grew up together. We came from the sandbox. Why you ain't been communicating with me? What's going on? And me and that person had a conversation, but it's not. I'm not even going to explain the situation, but the point is, when you are setting goals for yourself and you have people around you that's not on the same energy or time that you are on, you have to separate yourself and you have to leave them wondering. Once you explain yourself and you show up, yo, this what I got going on, this what I'm doing, and you know, and the energy not reciprocated, you gotta just cut that cord. You gotta let go. You gotta let people be where they at. Leave people where they be. Cause you know where you are already going. That's a prime example right there. Cause it may be your closest homie. It may be your family members, your favorite cousin or some shit. But if they not on the same time as you gotta let them go. There's no beef. There's no bad blood. It's just I'm literally on a whole nother frequency. That's how you truly start living for yourself. You remove the old so you can have room for the new. But there's so many different phases when it comes to living for yourself. You know how to set goals for yourself and boundaries for every relationship and interaction that you deal with. You know. However, I think I'm gonna go ahead and end it right here. Just yeah. Main point is to live for yourself. Live for yourself. Don't be on anybody else's time. Be on your own time. You create the punch. You create the punch and you create the clock for yourself. You create the standard. You create your own foundation. You must build your foundation. Sometimes behind closed walls. And that's what it takes. You know. Appreciate y'all for tuning in.